This week, I dropped my son to school after 10 days of him being with us in the house because he was sick. And it was a drama, heartbreaking. But I managed to push through, and he had to stay and keep up with his life. So, this is not the first time that happens. I actually already know what's kind of like the psychological mechanics behind the scenes every time something like this happens, that he has a tantrum, he doesn't want to go to school. And apparently it's because he psychologically he understands, takes that as a reset of his comfort. Has been 10 days with his parents and now he has to go to school. The routine is broken. So all of that is felt like danger. That reset of like, okay, now we have to adapt to a new routine. And really that episode had me thinking about how sensitive humans are in regard to routines and in regard to resets. Very pertinent to what we're going through right now with AI, which is definitely a disruption into routines and ways of being, and a reset about humanity and what we understand humans are. This transitional moment will require us to navigate it with a different mindset than the one that we have been applying for the last at least 20 years that I know. So the productivity optimization framework, it seems to be a little bit outdated, and that we need to adopt a new mindset that help us out cope with all the disruptions to our routines, our habits, our comforts, our understandings of the world in a way that makes more sense and that it doesn't feel so threatening. And that to me is pretty much a Latin framework. Let me explain what I mean by that. Latin culture and Anglo-Saxon culture are very different. We know that. But because Latin countries are historically more dysfunctional than Anglo nations, Latins have in a way learned to live by three different pillars, or to live by a structure that has three different features: presence, tolerance to uncertainty, and community. Those three things are very high level what makes life possible in these dysfunctional societies. And in a way, I think we will need to grasp that type of framework to understand, decode, accept, and implement the new disruption that is coming along with AI. So let me explain exactly what I say by this. The Anglo world has somehow manufactured a type of certainty that gives its population a feeling of safety, a feeling of comfort, a feeling of security. The Latin culture, on the other hand, possess none of that. And I think this is true for most of Latin America. I'm not too sure what's the deal with Latin countries in Europe, but it has provided a different mindset that it comes very handy now at this time, at this transitional time that we're getting through. So really that type of plan ahead and productivity driven mindset is not applicable in these type of cultures. So the first pillar is presence. The second pillar is a very high tolerance to uncertainty, which I don't see here in more of developed countries, and that in a way builds certain type of resiliency to expect the unexpected and be able to sort it out. And that can be from losing all your savings, from the bank getting some type of block where you can only extract $300 a week, from maybe just getting your car stolen and the police doing nothing about it. I mean, really anything can happen. Just being at the bus station for over 2 hours because the bus is not coming and you don't have idea why it's not coming. There's definitely, because anything can happen, you just really develop that very high tolerance to uncertainty, as I call it. And that's something that is part of the culture. And then the third pillar is community. Because everything else is broken, the only thing that is not broken is the people that are around you, your family. So you will rely on them to get ahead or for support in a way where there is no shame or any type of reservation of asking something for it. Like, it could go all the way from asking for a large sum of money in the case of children wanting to afford some kind of mortgage or credit to their parents, or it could go to your neighbor, asking your neighbor to watch over your kids because you gotta run to the doctor or something. So really there's no type of kind of reservation at the time of asking people to help out, step up, cover. So community is, I think, at the end of the day, the reason why these societies still work or still function, because you definitely cannot trust anything else. So in other words, the system fails, and because the system fails, humans living those systems need to develop this other type of more human skills. There's no optimization, there's no productivity, there's really the everyday, day by day, how do I manage to just get through the day? And I think those three main pillars are the ones that but ideally we would adopt in this transition until we get into a fully automated world. Because, the more I research, the more I realize that AI is here to stay. It's not only here to stay, but it's here to generate. It's here to create. And there's no one can stop it, because not even the people that are behind AI know how to stop it. They don't even know how this works or why AI does or chooses what it chooses. It's like it's opaque. That's the term that they're using at the time of trying to describe the mechanisms behind the results. So in that sense, think about it as a colony, as a like in biology, like a colony of bacteria, like digital colony that grows and grows and grows. And we don't have an antidote for that. It's growing exponentially. So it will take over. And the question, as I said, is like, okay, who do we want to be, or where do we want to be when this thing takes over? And how do we get there? And what are the skills that we need to get there? And I think those skills are actually these three things that we can borrow from other cultures, which is presence, tolerance to uncertainty, and community. Those are the three things. My name is Magdalene, and I do these videos so I can learn how to articulate myself. If you want to learn more about this particular topic, go check my Substack. I just made an essay on it. Thank you. Bye-bye.